Well, hello, my name is Bill Coyne. I'm a Siddha. Took the Cities course in 2006 at MIU. I started TM in 1974 in November, and Mitch has asked me to relate my experience of living in Smith Center, Kansas. A little of my history is I started TM in 74, and I was blown away the very first meditation, and I just said, give me everything you got. And 2 weeks later I was off on a residence course for a 5-day residence course, and I had a ton of books with me, movement books and science of being, art of living, and all that stuff. So it was 5 days of hilarity, and then after that I was helping at the center, doing anything I could just because I liked being in the environment. So in 75, I was in the Army at the time, and I finished my tour of duty. And I went home and I ran over to the center and I says, hey, I just got back from Colorado. What can I do here? What can I help you guys with? And so they put me to work doing little things here and there. So in 76, I started college at Northern Illinois University. And I was active in the center there. I was helping the teacher out. They couldn't get enough initiation, so I was helped feeding them and making sure they were comfortable and everything. So then after 4 years of college, I went to 2 years of graduate school. And I finished that in around 1982. In 1983, I showed up on MIU campus, and I asked if I could volunteer in the kitchen, and they said, yeah, sure. So I volunteered there for 3 or 4 days, and I said, this is great. I really like working here. This is and they said, well, would you like to be on staff? And I said, I don't even know if I qualify to be on staff. I thought everybody out here was like super enlightened or something like that. So I said, no, we, come in, just put in an application. You'll have a place to stay. You're getting free meals. You get $30 a month. I mean, it's a pretty good life. So I signed up. Next day I was on staff, and about 2 months later, they made me head cook of the Annapurna, the old building. And I was working with David Earl and his future wife, Irene, and they're the two of the most dedicated, unbelievably wonderful people I've ever met in my life. And then after I became the head cook, maybe a month or two later, they started the 7,000 conference. First one in the United States. I think they had a few in Europe, but they didn't get 7,000. And that all in all by itself was a world-changing experience. I don't know what effect it had in the world, but here's one story from the kitchen aisle. There were like 4 meditators with me, and then the rest of them were siddhas, were kind of like coming out of the program. We didn't want to have them do too much work or touch near boiling liquids or hot and sharp knives or something. So the course started. We went from feeding 1,600 people to like 6,000, 7,000 in a matter of weeks. We had to redo the whole kitchen, remodel, get all new equipment in, and everybody's running around. It was a lot of fun. So the course started, and everything was going real smooth. We had everything planned out. We had all the menus planned out and everything. And then there were like 3 or 4 days when we hit 8,000. And I came into work feeling saturated with, all I can describe it as bliss. I mean, I wasn't disoriented either. I was clear in my mind. Motor functions were working. And I said, this is really strange. It's like living in silk. Everything was smooth. And then the other meditators came in, and they said, you notice anything? And I said, yeah, it's a whole different world, you know. And so for those few days were magical, and I just can't describe them enough. But in the kitchen, everything was like a finely tuned machine. Everything was working perfectly. I mean, here's an example. If you dropped a spoon, you move your hand over a few inches and there would be another spoon waiting for you. So, and a truck would break down, you know, it was 80 below zero, we're delivering food around, and a truck would break down, and just as it broke down, somebody would pull up and say, hey, you need any help? You know, it's days of that. And it was the most terrible weather you can imagine, but everything was flowing completely smoothly. I applied for a job here at MIU. And they called me up. Yeah, come out and work. And they made me the office manager of facilities management in 2005. I got it functioning to where we could account for every penny we spent, and people were getting their paychecks calculated right and everything. But TM was great. The cities are just way off, different, you know, and of course they're a lot more powerful, and especially a flying city. I mean, you can't get better than the flying city. In 2007, I joined the IA course, and I was a steady flyer until 2013. I know that even if you only have another sit-ha meditating, it's better than having no sit-ha, doing it yourself. I mean, I can't show you on charts or anything, but what you feel is, it's not like a doubling effect. It's like I forgot what they're called, geometric calculation or something. There's some term, but it's more than just two. You feel like you're in a bigger group. And so I thought, I knew that before I came out here. So as soon as possible, I wanted to get at least another one. So I asked Mitch to come, and I set things up, and he came out. You know, he comes out now and then. And then Frank was here, and so when there were three of us, it was like being in a full dome. I couldn't believe it. And I thought, well, I'm never going back there and then I thought, wow. And while Ann's doing her program too at her apartment, which is only like 50 feet away. So there's that group thing, but it's not so close. But I thought, boy, if we got 10 guys out here, male or female, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't have to be the same people. If we had a rotating thing where people come out but if you had a stable population or a stable program time with 10 people in it, I think the impact would be 100 times more than they calculated, because it's in the Brahmasthan. It's in the radius of the Brahmasthan influence area, or whatever you want to call it. And so I would talk to my sit-ha lady about that, and so she got excited about it, and so she wants to develop a property that behind me you see a building, and across the street from the building on the other side is a empty building that I looked at just recently, and I thought, well, that looks like it has some promise. So she's working on that, and I'm still thinking in terms of getting a big geodesic tent, putting it out here, and then having us fly around it. So I'm thinking of all kinds of crazy ideas. But since I got out here, I think it's, well, first of all, Maharishi chose this area, and he wanted people to move out here. And I said, well, all these people are saying, oh, I'm so devoted to Maharishi and everything. I said, well, where are you? How come you're not coming out here? And so I said, I just forget about them. So I'm not soliciting anybody to come out here, but Maharishi had this desire to develop this area because he thought there was a lot of support from the concentrated laws of nature that exist here. And I think there's some truth to that. I can't say there's any truth to that, but I have experiences here that I did not have in Fairfield, and one of them relates to Riton. And you know the old story where you want something, and then you see it at the store, and next time you want it, somebody's bringing it to you, and next time you want it, it's right there. Well, I've had so many of these right there experiences out here. I thought, wow, this is getting a little spooky for me. But it's happening all the time. And I thought, well, if it's happening with only 3-4 siddhas here, it might just blow the doors off if we had 10. So I kept saying, and my lady friend would say, well, how many siddhas do you want out here? And I said, well, we should start with 10 and then test it. Because these guys, these millionaires and billionaires, they've been giving money for years and years and years. You adjust to the purity of the atmosphere here. That's kind of a little foggy, because the silence hasn't been developed by siddhas. The silence has been developed by hardworking people. So there's just that difference in the quality of the silence. But when the devatas are activated through the practice of the cities, they respond to that. And I think that's what they might be wanting. And I said, well, there's no way to test that, It's just maybe it's a flighty thought or something. And I thought, well, be careful about what you think out here, because if you want something, it'll happen. I mean, on a small scale. I mean, if you want, like I wanted a mower, and because I wanted to do just a little light activity around here. And then and I just kept, I wasn't saying, I need a mower, I got to have a mower. It would just come to my head, a mower would be good for this situation. A mower would be good here. Mower. And then all of a sudden, poof, there's this mower. I wasn't telling anybody about this stuff. And it's happened over and over and over again, to the point where I don't even, I don't know. It just happens. And I don't know how it happens. I'm just speculating that it's part of settling into the coherent silence that's here, and then working with that instead of trying to fight it. It's going, if Maharishi's right about this being the Brahmasthan, it's going to take care of itself no matter who comes here. But if you work with it, if you activate, I don't like using this word, but if you activate the devatas, they will work with you, and they will work very quickly with you. They are very strong here. They're very, very powerful here, because it's the Brahmasthan, and you'll see that if you go to, even if you have a Brahmasthan location in your house, that area, people put flowers on it, or that area all by itself represents the power of that house. It is the most powerful point in that house. So this stuff about the Brahmasthan, and Mitch has been going all over the country registering his observations about how he feels in the Brahmastans. And then if you get a chance to watch that video, you should watch it. And my feeling, I've never had experience with Brahmastans before I moved out here. But my thinking about it is that if Maharishi's usually right when he's, in fact, I haven't seen any instance where he's misinterpreted Vedic philosophy or Vedic writings or anything like that. So if he says so, that this area, people should move here, they're cheating themselves by not moving here. They keep thinking, now, I'm going to go on the next course, I'm going to go on the next, or I'm going to go out to Purusha, I'm going to go out to Mother Divine. And I had no complaints. If that's what you're comfortable with, great. If you want to do what Maharishi recommends, you should come out here. You should at least give Maharishi a chance. He deserves that. For all the work he's done, and he's devoting his whole life to this stuff, he deserves that. Putting aside your doubts. Don't go in here and come out here with $1 million and think you're going to change anything. Yet that's not how it works here. It doesn't work from outside in. It works from inside out. The Brahmasthan is developing itself. It's looking for outlets. And one of the outlets is the presence of a siddha. They will manifest those laws of nature that are dormant. They're not dead. They just don't have anything to do. They're just sitting around watching TV, whatever the devatas do. They don't have any outlet to express themselves. When you bring a siddha in, he might not have all the cities that are available, but he has the right ones to start activating them, and then the devatas, the laws of nature, will begin to sprout. And it won't happen overnight. This is different. The laws of nature are very stable. I mean, they've been here for a long time. It's like you're not taking advantage of what's available here. It's like there's a fertile ground that you're not planting seed in. So I'm not telling people to do something they don't feel comfortable with. If you come out here and you just hate the place, leave right away. Go away. But if you come out here and you realize what you're doing, that you're saturating yourself with even if you don't meditate, you're being saturated with the presence of all the laws of nature, the subtle activity that is focused and concentrated here. So it's like a hub. You could have a flat tire, but you can still ride on it. Or you could be missing a few spokes. You're still going to be able to ride your bike, but you don't have a hub. You're not going very far. Those spokes have nothing to connect to. That wheel has no spokes to support it. You get a good hub, you're going to get results. And I am convinced of that. That just makes so much sense to me. And there's a lot of that kind of thinking and feeling around here. The ground, you can pump it full of chemicals and everything, you're just going to wear it out. A lot of these guys don't think like that. A lot of the corporations coming in here are thinking like that. But the guys who have worked this land, the first place I went to was a health center out here. There was a 91-year-old guy. He'd been farming all his life. He was lifting weights heavier than I could lift. And he was in perfect health. There's nothing wrong with him. And I thought, I want to be like that. When I grow old, I want to be. I might not. I'm old now, but when I get to be 90, if I live to 90, I want to still be functioning like he does. So, I sat and talked with him. Hey, how you doing this? And he just told me the simplest things. You eat good food, drink good water, get some exercise. He goes to church a lot and all that stuff. And then, get involved in your community activities. And I thought, man, there's got to be more to it than that. But I didn't want to pester him. So anyway, when you come out here, you kind of have to adjust your thinking about what's going on out here. It works from the ground up. It works from the center out. So that's my, Mitch asked me to make this commentary. That's my commentary. You just come here, let those guys, let the devatas guide you. They will make you flourish. They will infuse their whatever powers they have or whatever goodness they have. You'll soak that up, and then you'll just, completely effortlessly emanate that. So I don't know if Rajaram makes a commentary on the things I'm saying, Believe him. I'm just speculating on my experience here and the little bit I know about how these things work. But it seems to make sense. And so if you come out here, don't expect anybody to run up and shake your hand or anything. They'll be friendly and everything. They'll help you out with stuff. But it's a quiet, settled community. It just doesn't have a high crime rate. People out here are generally healthy. They're clear-headed. They don't do anything special to do that. They just live the life out here. So I think if whatever Siddha comes out here, he's already fortified with the techniques on how to access what is making this community healthy. And it's already set up. It's like you walk into a valley you don't know. The ground's already fertile for you. Sometimes you don't even have to plant a seed. It's just waiting for you. You just take advantage of it. Just bring somebody out here. Just bring somebody out here. And if we get, here's my boast. If we get 10, not a stable population, but if we get 10 siddhas flying twice a day here for a year, I'm convinced it's worth a try. Things will start sprouting like you wouldn't believe. I think there's more power here than we're not tapping into it. We're just not, I don't know what we're thinking, but my thinking has always been, yogastha kuru karmani, established in yoga. Well, first thing you want to do is to establish in yoga and then perform action. It's that way out. It's just not perform action to establish yoga. No, you establish yoga first to whatever degree you can establish it, and then you perform action. So it's an outward thing once you dive in. And that's the whole TN thing. I mean, every time you meditate, you go down into the yoga. You establish it. Maybe not for a long time, but some of it's there. And then when you come out, it automatically does it. You don't have to make any effort at all. You just do your normal stuff. Same here. It's already here. It's just waiting for you. Take it or leave it. So that's all I got to say.